Hi, this is Dean Jackson. Welcome to the More Cheese, Less Whiskers podcast. And today we've got a really interesting podcast for you in a lot of different ways. First of all, I'm talking with Harry Massey. And what Harry does is something that you've probably never heard of or thought about in your life. Harry has a company that helps people increase their energy and increase their well-being with something called infoceuticals. Now, I'd never heard that term either. And so we spent a long time trying to get to the bottom of how infoceuticals work for me to understand it a little bit. And then how do you convey something that somebody has never heard of? That's where the convincing part of the profit activators come in. But when you've got something that requires some education, you're going to see that we were concerned about how do we compel people to raise their hand so that we can have the conversation about introducing the idea, a brand new idea, to them in a way that's compelling and convincing that they would want to try something. So this episode goes a little bit longer than most of the episodes, but you're going to see why, and I'll share some examples of other kind of parallels to this, of why and how it's important to just get the conversation started with the right people, and how to narrow your focus to the right people, or enough people that you can have a meaningful dialogue with and learn from those interactions, something that you could scale to the rest of the world. Wherever, if you've got something that can help everybody everywhere, which is kind of where we started this conversation, you'll see that sometimes the best way to approach it is to start with some artificial constraints that will produce a more manageable environment for you. So I think you're going to really enjoy this episode and thinking through how this could work for your business. And I would recommend that, as a supplement to this, that you listen to the, episode on I Love Marketing that Joe Polish and I did with Damon John on the power of broke, because we talk about this local scaling up. And I think that would be a nice supplement to this. So enjoy this episode.
Harry Massey, I presume.
Hey, Dean. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
Seems like just yesterday we were having lunch in Phoenix.
It was. I just had some cheese for breakfast, and now I talk about cheese.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're recording right now. We'll go for an hour, and we'll hatch as many evil schemes as we can for whatever you want to talk about. I'm anxious to hear some of the things you've been working on and the direction you're going. But for everybody listening, why don't you kind of set the stage for who you are and what you do, so we can kind of narrow in on the kind of evil schemes we'll be hatching today?
Sure. Well, basically, 20 years ago, I ended up with chronic fatigue for about 10 years, and out of that, I ended up inventing this total wellness system, which is basically a device where you can put your hand on a device, and it'll read the energy of your body field and basically give you a health analysis, and which we sell the system to practitioners, and then from that our practitioners basically help people get their health back, and then recommend these remedies which we call infoceuticals, which basically trigger a healing response back in the body.
And what do you call them again? What's that word?
Infoceuticals, which is like a hybrid of information and pharmaceutical. In other words,
infoceuticals. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, what kinds of describe the experience that somebody might have and the results that they might get. So what are we talking about here? So just to kind of set the stage, are we going to be talking today about attracting individuals to use this device, or practitioners who are going to do this?
I mean, there's two parts to the business. I mean, one obviously we try and attract more practitioners, and then the second is to help our practitioners get clients. And I'd like to talk more about how we help our practitioners get clients, because in 2 weeks' time at our annual conference, we're launching basically a cloud-based membership platform, which means from in 2 weeks' time, all of our practitioners' clients can go home and see all their scan results online. They can also be remotely scanned online, and we can also provide them all of the sort of knowledge that they need to help transform their health and life.
Okay, great. So with these, so the practitioners will be kind of providing this on a local basis, right? Because you have to physically go somewhere to get the scan. So I might be, if I'm a practitioner, I might be a local practitioner here in Orlando, and I'd be drawing people from my local area. Is that the general idea?
So historically that's the case, but now because of this remote technology, basically a practitioner can see anybody anywhere, and they don't need to have a physical office anymore.
Okay, and what about the device, though? Would they have to be in person to do that, right?
No. So we basically just drop ship that to people's homes, and in January we're introducing a very small little scanner that plugs into your phone, so people can basically just do it from their phone, have all their results, then have a Skype call with a practitioner, have their results interpreted, and then all the product is all drop shipped by the company on behalf of the practitioner.
Okay, great. So no matter what, in order to attract practitioners, the best way to attract them, and the way that we're going to have to help them, is to equip them to find people who want this, who want the result. So let's focus initially on the individuals, so that we can get a sense of how to best equip the practitioners to find these individuals. So let's start with the result that somebody can get. Like who is this for, and what are the things that might lead them to seek something like this out, and what's the transformational result that they can get?
I mean, generally, it's people who've gone through a route with traditional medicine or biochemistry and haven't got a result. And with all sorts of different health conditions. And if we took my own case as an example, I had bed-bound chronic fatigue and ended up meeting this scientist who invented the infoceuticals that basically help get me better. So one major benefit is basically increasing your energy so you can get your health back.
Okay. And so what would be, you mentioned chronic fatigue, and what would be, like, just so I get a sense of this, the top 3 or 4 types of conditions that people might have that this would be absolutely a home run for?
Definitely for fatigue, depression, anxiety, all sorts of different nervous system problems. To be honest, it's pretty good at most health problems.
At what kind of problems did you say?
Oh, pretty much all health problems.
Okay, great. So that's, you can understand then that poses some challenge where, as far as reaching out to people in a before unit, it's, people search for very specific things. So the only person that it's convenient to bundle that we can solve all the problems is the practitioner. Hey, whatever ailment you've got, we can help you out. But if we can narrow it down to a specific thing, that would be the beginning of it.
Yeah, to narrow it down, it would all be themed around energy, because number one, my story was a lack of energy to increased energy, and I guess number two, our system is able to read people's energy and correct it. So I would basically put it all around lack of energy, and our benefit would be to increase people's energy. And if you're able to increase people's energy, all sorts of great health benefits come out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have more energy. So when you look at that, so it doesn't necessarily even have to be an ailment per se. It could be somebody who wants peak performance, maybe even in a way, right? To meet all the advertising regulations, we have to do it around performance and wellness and energy anyway. Okay, perfect. And so when we look at the process here, so we've found somebody who wants more energy, is maybe to the point where they have chronic fatigue, or they're kind of, undiagnosed or borderline chronic fatigue, just that kind of just general malaise, or just fatigue in general here. What would be the protocol, or what would happen if I could just deliver you somebody who says, you know what, I'm really fatigued, I would love more energy. What would be the steps that you would take here? What would be my journey in the during unit here with you?
So the first thing we would do is send them. We would send them a scanner in the post, and then we would connect them up to a practitioner. So they would then receive the scanner in the post, connect it into their computer, and it basically very easily does a scan on them, and then they basically end up speaking to their practitioner, who interprets their results and then coaches them around how they can get more energy. And then they also drop ship those infoceuticals, which help trigger a healing response back in their body. And if you combine that with their change in habits, then they end up getting the result of more energy.
Okay. And so how would the scan, what kind of things are you measuring with the scan that would be sort of benchmarking numbers?
So we look at every single organ system, so like brain, heart, liver, kidney, etc. We also look at all the major meridian systems. We look at their emotions, and nutrition and environmental factors as well.
Okay. So when I hook up the scan, is it like a series do I put different different devices on my body, or is it put it on my finger, or is it a helmet, or what?
Sorry, I didn't describe that.
No, it's okay. So I'm trying to get a visual of it.
At the moment, it's very like the mouse that you're probably using on your computer right now. So you just put a hand on a mouse.
Okay, so very comfortable. I just kind of I'm not like.
Oh yeah. No, we're not drawing blood or anything.
No, and I don't have to shave my chest and stick these electrodes all over my body.
You can, Dean, if you want.
Okay, and wear it for a week and all that stuff. How long does it take to scan?
Oh, 5 seconds.
Okay, great. So I put it on, I hook it up to the computer, I put my hand on it, and this will tell me in 5 seconds, it will give me, will it sort of say, okay, there's something off with your kidney or something off with your liver or your heart or your lungs, or is that the kind of thing? It would kind of, it's a diagnostic tool?
Yeah. So in terms of, I guess, in terms of the energy terminology, it's basically looking at the energy field produced by each of those organs. And if for instance, let's say your heart is weak and it's not producing a strong magnetic field, it'll show that.
I got you. Okay. And so you benchmark that against optimals and show where you range on a scale kind of thing? Is that how it would?
Yeah, it's on a pretty simple scale. It's just from 0 to 5, and if a 5 comes up, it basically means it all depends what the test is, but all of them have a particular infoceutical to each test, and then all of them have some what I call self health and help recommendations. So let's say your liver came up, that might also recommend some dietary changes and ways you can have a cleaner liver along with some product that will help clean and detoxify your liver. So yeah, every test has a different outcome.
Okay. And then, so step 1, I take this scan. It tells me where there might be some less than optimal energy points in my body if come from my organs. And then the practitioner will then prescribe some infoceuticals. So talk about that, because that is the protocol kind of thing that you would recommend for people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically based on in pretty much most of medicine, and it's both traditional and alternative medicine. Most of it's based on sort of conventional biochemistry. But if you look at biology from a physics point of view, you can basically get new insights and ways of stimulating healing responses. And there's been quite a few researchers over the past 20 odd years that have looked into how water can contain a memory. And to cut a long story short, the scientists that we've been working with has basically managed to record information from healthy tissue, so we can record the information of like a healthy heart cell or a healthy liver cell or kidney cell, and then we can imprint that information into a liquid. And if you basically drink that liquid, it'll basically stimulate a healing response back to that healthy blueprint.
Wow, that sounds almost it sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, but there's quite a few Nobel Prize laureates who sort of been looking at this area, and it all stems from basically 200 years ago when homeopathy was invented, which used to be relatively effective. But basically, in homeopathy, you dilute a substance. You basically dilute a liquid with a substance that would cause a symptom. And we basically said, well, why dilute with something like Nux vomica, which would make you throw up if you took a lot of it? Why not imprint a liquid with healthy information instead? So it's basically a 180-degree shift from homeopathy, which has ended up making it much more effective. And there's been a pretty amazing. So there's a scientist called Luc Montagnier who he won the Nobel Prize for discovering the AIDS virus, and he's basically shown how you can also imprint information into a liquid, add a lot of DNA base pairs, and basically the information is able to instruct the DNA base pairs to create a new protein, which long and short basically shows how information can create an epigenetic expression in the body.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, I mean, you're seeing now, I'm amazed by all of the things that we're learning about DNA and about the ways that we can impact it. I just read about some scientists that were able to embed digital information into a DNA strand, and other scientists were able to pull it out, and it was 3 digital photos that they were able to embed in the DNA code, which is kind of just fascinating to me, right? They used some kind of they just
this right.
There are 4 or 5 characters in the DNA. Strand.
A, C, T, and H.
So 4. So there's A, C, T, H, and they were able to basically take 2 of those, because in digital is only ones and zeros. So they basically would use 2 of the letters, and then they created this sort of hashtag or zip code sort of area so you could find where it is. So it starts here, ends here, and then embedded the digital information in the strand. It's crazy, right? To think that you could do that kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole rise of I guess you would call it information as medicine, which has never really been thought about. But it's exactly that. You can read information out of the body, and then you can also put information back in the body, and ultimately information is if you like the sort of ultimate control system of
well, it
life
just makes
itself.
sense that we really, the more we learn about it, we really are. It is, our whole systems are information. It's all ones and zeros. That's really the whole thing. So I think it's fascinating to see what's going on here. So, okay, let me get back to the layperson understanding of this. And I'm talking about me as the layperson here. So I get this. I put my hand on this mouse. It reads in 5 seconds. It can tell the areas of low energy, low magnetic energy, which are all going to, in some way, have an effect on my overall sense of well-being and energy, right? Am I reading that right so far? Okay. And then with these infoceuticals, is this something that I would ingest? Is it I take I drink this, I drop this, tell me what I do.
They're basically just little bottles of liquid, and you literally just drop. You just drop about 9 or 10 drops in a glass of water, and drink the glass of water. So it's pretty straightforward.
So they're flavorless, and
it's literally just highly mineralized water that's had information imprinted onto the ions in the water.
Okay, and I do this once a day or several times a day, or how?
You just do it once a day for 30 days, and then you would be re-scanned to see how your body field and energy of all your organ systems are doing, and then generally those ones are being corrected, and there'll be a different set of priorities to then go on to sort of unpeel the next level of your energy.
And what would I have found in that 30 days? What would be? Is there a typical scenario? Is there a immediate effect? Is it a slow and gradual effect? What do people report?
It's generally a bit like a tailored it's like the opposite of an exponential curve. So generally in the first few days, you get a stronger, like a stronger reaction, and it all depends which ones you're taking. But things like a liver, if you detox the liver a bit strongly, yeah, you might get some symptoms from that as it cleans out. But other ones, such as like your heart and kidneys, generally you just get a rise in energy and feel better.
And how long does it take to get the more energy?
I mean, a lot of the effect happens in the first 10 to 12 days, and then it's a lesser effect after that because you've had a lot of the reaction.
Okay. And how would people rate that? Like, because I imagine, energy is one of these things that's very, hard to pin down with a quantitative measure to it. As it's a general
we do have like a wellness, when people visit a practitioner in person in our old version of software, we do have basically a 0 to 5 where people can rate how they're doing on the main reason that they came to visit the practitioner. But what we could do, which I hadn't thought about, is when people are having a scan at home, they could rate themselves on a 0 to 5 or a 0 to 10 scale of how much energy they have, and then they could see their progress.
Mm-hmm. And do you see people reporting dramatic improvements? How do they? What's a general sense of how people react once they've had this?
It's pretty. It can be pretty dramatic, and obviously, if you're being very sick and bedbound, and you get your health and life back, that's obviously that's completely transformational.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's why I was asking about the what are the things that are most dramatic. Like what are the things that are most transformational? I'll give you an example because Luba Winter has a device that does that provides like a non-surgical facelift. It's got red and blue LED light with ultrasonic and galvanic waves, and this is a kind of just a flat sort of stainless steel round thing that people rub on their face, and it stimulates elastin and collagen and kills bacteria and plumps the skin and removes the wrinkles. And so it's been sold as a beauty device. It can make a difference in people's appearance, tighten loose skin, get rid of wrinkles, those kind of things. But those are sort of, a general approach. But where it has a transformational approach difference is in acne, that it will cure people's adult acne because it goes to the source. It kills the bacteria and it stimulates elastin and collagen. So rather than just like treating it with a topical, it's something that will now treat it from the source and create, beautiful, fresh, new skin, basically. So when we were focusing on the approach to marketing this, that was where I gravitated towards the transformational difference, the visible transformational difference that you can make, because somebody who has acne and has a challenge with that, they know that they would love to get rid of that. And it's crystal clear to see that it's absolutely working. You know, you can in 30, 60, and 90 days have an incredible transformation very quickly in 30 days, and by 90 days, completely transformed. And so it was very similar because the device does so many things, helps people in so many ways, and can help women or anybody with skin everywhere. It's such a broad appeal. And my advice to her was to focus on, if you can help people everywhere with everything, is let's place some kind of artificial constraints on this. And if we're going to cure all the acne in the world, let's start with Portland and cure all the acne in the world in Portland, And so this kind of reminds me of that is I'm thinking, is there anything that, like you're saying, chronic fatigue, or are there any things that specific symptom-based disease things or conditions or ailments that this lends itself to, a very clear this made the difference, rather than just a generalized kind of sense of energy?
Probably chronic fatigue would be a good one to pick.
Mm-hmm. And is there things like, would you put like help with other things like fibromyalgia or pain type of things, or just sort of nervous system energy type of things?
Chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia are very closely linked. It's sort of, I don't know if I want to confuse the picture, but I'll confuse it anyway. But we also have another handheld device called a My Health that's sort of which is specifically targeted at the pain end.
I gotcha.
But I don't know that. Yeah, but it's sort of outside of this. Okay. Outside of this cloud experience.
Okay. So if we look at the chronic fatigue, what would be that would be the thing where in 30 days somebody can make a pretty they would have a nice result from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And have you done a lot of documenting like that of what sort of efficacy level does it have?
We've done 14 different studies, but we did one specifically on chronic fatigue / fibromyalgia with we had 67 patients with that. I try and remember the statistics. I think it was like 78%. I think 78% had a large benefit in the first 3 months. I can't remember exactly what the research paper said, but anyway, the trial came out good. Is the long and short
awesome.
of it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's 78%, because that's one of the things that people would constantly be on the lookout for. People searching for that, for relief from that, or just don't want to be resigned to it. So how long is this something that somebody would then continue with the infoceuticals for indefinitely, or is it for the short period of time and then they're done, or what's the protocol?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because I've been thinking about how to package that up. Generally to date, people see practitioners for all sorts of different periods. Like sometimes they see a practitioner for 6 months or a year. Sometimes just a few months, and that's it's not really controlled by us. It's all down to how the practitioner runs their practice. But what we'd like to do is, on their behalf, sell a home wellness program. So either a 3 or a 6 month program where we can say, and then I'd like to do a study. Basically, I'd then like to do a study to reverse engineer that. So if we said, for instance, I don't know, let's say it was $1,200 for a 6 month program where you're going to be scanned, coached, and have the infoceuticals, and we had let's say 1,000 people go through that, and these were the results. I think that's probably where I'd want to end up.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so you would keep a running tally on it that as people.
Oh yeah, because everything is in the cloud. We can literally we can literally display in real time.
And you could see
exactly
the numbers.
What our results are. Everyone.
Yeah, if somebody were stepping, or if somebody were getting measured for the first time, somebody with chronic fatigue, how many different measurements are being rated between 0 and 5? Is it just the major organs, or are there multi checklist of ratings?
So the scan tests 400 different things, but we don't necessarily have to display all those. I think we're only going to display about 50 or 60 of those. Maybe we should display less actually. And then the thing that they might rate themselves, that would just be a singular number.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that it might be corresponding if there were this would be the numbers that somebody with chronic fatigue, I would imagine that they would rate lower on the scale then, right? Because it would be like a systemic low energy. It would be from overall, or would there be everything's firing great, but it's their kidney is really low or their liver is really low?
The thing with fatigue is there can be different reasons for it. Like if someone's endocrine system, i.e. their adrenals, kidneys, were not working, that can make you feel like death. But it's not the only reason. It could also be cellular toxicity, or it could be the thyroid. There are different reasons for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so then you would be able to show graphically the improvement over time as they're getting scanned, that you're seeing this going from 1 to 2 to 3. And is the ultimate goal that we're at a 5 for everything, or is 5 as much of a problem as 0 is, and we're looking for balance of a 3 on everything?
The scans actually the physics of it's a little bit peculiar, but it's actually a relative system. So let's say the kidney was the main issue this month, and you corrected that. When you sort of unpeel that layer, the next time you go, it might be the time to detoxify the liver, and so that will display as a 3 or 4. So it's not quite that you can say that all of these numbers.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to get to a point where we're dialing it in and everything's firing on all cylinders. That wouldn't be what this test would indicate. This is relative. It's
relative. Although we could probably do one overall general energy test. I think that would be possible.
Well, you'd almost have to. I mean, it seems like if you're going to document improvement, if it's the there's test after test, there would seem like having some level of sense of improvement on it would be important, I guess, to document. Yeah. So I think that part of the thing that I'm trying to see here then is we basically have it down to, if you take this, let me do this scan, we'll identify where which things are relatively causing lower energy, and let's custom create some infoceutical water or drops that you can take with water. Try this for 30 days, and let's see and we should see a difference in your in the energy. Okay. And how much would that cost to do something like that? Just so I get a context.
So yes, but it's an undefined question, because historically practitioners charge whatever they want, but they generally charge about $120 for the 5 infoceuticals that we sell to them for $60. And then their own time varies depending on their qualifications, but it's generally between $75 and $150 for an hour of their time.
Okay. And so my total cost to test something like this might be in the neighborhood of $150 or $200. Is that right?
Yeah, but including the solution as well.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because they're gonna. So there are. Did you say there are 6 or 5 different formulas that the infoceuticals?
5. Yeah, 5.
So there's 5 different infoceuticals, but they're not. So it's not a customized one in terms of this is specific.
No, it is. So there's a range of 72. And then the scan tells you which of the 5 out of that 72 that you need.
I got you. Okay. And so am I doing? So would it be in one bottle, or I'm doing 5 different drops?
5 bottles.
So it'd be 5 different bottles that I'm doing. 1 drop of each or 2 drops of each?
Yeah, you do 10 drops of each.
Okay. So there's a little bit of preparation in this, in a way. It takes me a little bit of time to do that, right? To drop that in the water every morning. But if I'm a kind of person that's doing my bulletproof...
You could mix it. Yeah,
coffee.
you could. It's a bit different to the coffee, but yeah,
I got it.
You could, but yeah, you can get a big liter bottle of water and put all of the bottles in it, and then just pour a quarter of a glass each day for 30 days. So I mean, you can make it pretty convenient. So you don't have to open up 5 bottles every day.
That makes sense. I would enjoy that better. So it's stable, and you would just shake the bottle, or you wouldn't even need to do that probably. Once it's in, right?
Yeah. No, once it's in. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. So that makes the compliance a pretty easy thing. So I think that the general idea then is that people, if they're curious about why they are low energy, that they would be happy to get a scan like that. I'm curious about the presenting this to somebody. When you're saying like practitioners, are these would this be the kind of thing that that another sort of practitioner would have as an addition to their practice? Like, would a chiropractor or a
I mean the curious. You'll probably hate this in the target market part, but we analysed our top 20 practitioners the other day, and 18 of them were from different specialties. So we had like a chiropractor, a doctor, an energy healer, a nutritionist, a naturopath. I mean, it's probably your worst nightmare. but
it's like everybody everywhere, right?
But I guess the plus side of that is it has universal appeal to all those types of practitioners.
Mm-hmm. And so then, I guess the next question was the longevity of it. Is it something that people would do for a longer term thing, or would it be that we do it for this 30, 60, or 90 days, or maybe 6 months, but then I'm done? Or is it tapering or changing the formula? What would be the?
I mean, there's definitely, like, we have sort of ardent fans who just do it. You know, they do it forever and keep on peeling, and you know, because there's sort of no end to so I get, you know, you can go beyond the health aspect into performance. So there's not really an upper limit of where it can go, and definitely there are some people that do it for years. But I think a lot of people, if they were really ill and they get well, they just get on with their life, because I think the problem has gone. But there might be ways of prolonging that for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I know I'm looking at it as like, how do we, you know, if we could say that, your opportunity as this sort of business owner, you're not looking to do these individually with people, but you're looking to bring in practitioners who would do this individually with people. So is there...
And if I can help, because, you know, our other sort of side hobby is making movies, and we recently completed one called Supercharge, which is exactly around that topic of how to get more energy. And obviously we're building an audience with that, and we would retarget them with a webinar to basically drive clients into this experience like that. I mean, I maybe never explained that at the beginning, but our funnel would be to get lots of people interested in more energy through the movie, and then you know, hold a webinar about the home wellness program, and then, you know, sign lots of people up for that, and then we can give all our practitioners lots of clients that have already signed up for a 3 or 6 month program like that. That would be my dream out of it.
Right. Yeah, that's great, because that's simpler. I didn't know about the movie, but that was going to be my sort of suggestion, was doing a book about the idea of energy. But Supercharged is a great title. You know, the thing about the idea of getting people to raise their hand, because it's typically invisible prospects, right? We can't get a list of people who feel low energy in a way, right? You're not, you can't target that on Facebook, but I guess, you know, you can target people in a certain demographic who might feel that way. And so part of the challenge, if I'm creating a before unit system for this. When we look at it, if I'm a practitioner, which is really who your client would be, and I am looking to you to be an associate, what's my involvement in this? Is there, am I buying a software? Am I buying a membership? Am I buying some training? What is it that I have to do to become a practitioner or associate of yours?
Up until this point, or probably for the next few months, our practitioners basically buy what we call the total wellness system, which includes online training and a 4-day in-person training, the software and hardware that does the analysis, that My Health device that does the pain part. Basically they get everything they need, and they just pay once. And I actually followed your risk reversal profit activator methodology. I get probably a year ago. And so how we do that is we basically, instead of selling them an expensive system, which was hard for our salespeople to do, we now do this thing that we call getting started, which basically means for $500 we give them all the equipment and we invite them to our 4-day training, and basically so they can have the whole experience for a very cheap amount of money. And if they're unhappy, didn't like it, whatever, we give them their money back plus an extra $500 for their time travel. And so far we haven't. So far we've had 100% conversion rate. I think we only introduced it about 8 months ago, but we've had 100% conversion rate from people who've come to our training to the system, and we haven't had to refund anyone. So that's worked out. And obviously now on that side of the business, we're looking at ways that we can scale that offer through direct mail, and we're just completing a load of direct mail letters, which we haven't yet tested in the field, but we've almost finished all the copy for it.
Mm-hmm. So now if I'm a practitioner in Winter Haven here, I'm interested in how am I going to get people to try this, right? How am I going to make Winter Haven the most energetic city in America? That's really the thing, right?
The book, yeah. The book. Maybe we should write a book that our practitioners can put their name on it in their own local area.
That's my point.
I like that. All right, I'll do a book then.
Yeah. That is the way that I would look at now, because now you've sort of got almost like a syndication. You have to imagine if we can crack the code for one practitioner to find people in his local marketplace who are interested in getting this scan and increasing their energy, then that's really, as long as there's a path to show that this is a viable business for them, So you've got to imagine now from their standpoint is what would they cheerfully pay for somebody to show up at their facility to do the scan and the protocol. So what I was getting to that was it's very difficult to explain what this is in an ad or a postcard or a direct mail piece. It's very, very difficult thing to convince somebody. But what we can do is we can identify the people who we can then convince. And this is where I often talk about separating the compelling from the convincing. And so what we ended up doing with Luba was, instead of offering and explaining all about this device, we did a book called The Adult Acne Cure. And so we would run Facebook ads to get people to download the book, and then we would engage with the people who downloaded the book in an email dialogue to find out how we could help them with their acne. So if we talk about like the title of a book that your ideal prospect would just love to have, to start the conversation, right? We're starting with the end in mind here, right? Like, what would be the title of a book that your ideal prospect would say, that is definitely a book I would like to read? And I love that title. I mean, the name of the movie, Supercharged, is a great title too.
And do you think? I guess before this conversation, I was considering whether we should write a supercharged book or a different book called Blowing Biology Out of the Water, which would be more about explaining the infoceuticals, because that's a quite a big concept to explain.
Right.
But I think I understand from what you're saying. Ditch that idea. It's better to go to the target audience for the energy. But if the other choice one would have is, if we're bundling it with the movie, then it would be a book from Harry and Sarah. But would it be better to do it to basically do a small, easy book that any of our practitioners could stamp their name on it, and
that would be definitely
and take Harry and Sarah out of the equation.
Yes, that's exactly what I would look at. Is to create that sort of tool, and I call that like a syndication like that. So we've got several of those things we do with real estate agents. We have a book called How to Sell Your House for Top Dollar Fast, and we allow the real estate agents to be the author of the book with their picture, their name, their contact information. All the information is coming from them, and so it's a educational kind of piece. And so you imagine it would be like the practitioners, and we do this all with our 90-minute book process. So it would be as if the practitioner had the advantage of you coming in to do a 1-hour consultation or a 1-hour presentation to all the people who are interested in that topic, interested in the result of.
How do you get the book? How do you help a practitioner advertise that book? Because they'd probably struggle on that aspect.
Absolutely. So that's where you have to create the I call it a scale-ready algorithm, where you have to, when you solve the problem of how do I, as a practitioner in Winter Haven, get people aware of and interested in and into my office to get their scan and take this system, right? That's ultimately, when you go right down to the base unit of what has to happen here, we have to be able to identify one person and introduce them to one practitioner and get them on a protocol. So when we figure out how to do that in the best way, with an eye on creating it as a as if we're going to duplicate it 5,000 times, like a franchise type of prototype, what is the thing that will get people to raise their hand? So if we offer a book called Supercharged, or a book called, whatever,
Abundant Energy for Life, or whatever.
Abundant Energy for Life, or, you look at this whole, you can, it's almost, there's a saying in England of a product that does what it says on the tin. And that is really what we're looking for in a book title, right? Like, so I use an example. I talk about Dave Ramsey wrote a book called Financial Peace, that somebody in financial turmoil, somebody who's concerned about money, when they see a book called Financial Peace, just touching the hem of that book is going to make it feel much better to them. They feel like they're, having possession of the book is going to get them closer to the result. And that's where things like, the 4-hour work week, or Think and Grow Rich, all these things that are, Stop Your Divorce. We did a book called Stop Your Divorce that it says exactly what you're trying to articulate. Abundant energy is a great set of words, because right now I'm really at a at a loss here. I mean, Yuri Elkin had a book called The All Day Energy Diet, which, again, it's a great title, right? Yeah. If we could get a title that somebody who is low energy would read this title and say, I want that, or I need that,
So you mean it would be like how to get abundant energy for life, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, even just saying abundant energy for life, or abundant energy, or 16-hour energy, or whatever, like the thing that would, in a lot of ways, we don't necessarily have to even have the how-to, but we can promise the benefit. We can, how-to is a good way to kind of create a template for coming up with the words that people would want,
Got you.
Yeah, because if we say, if you could even drop the how-to and just focus on the benefit. Like Dave Ramsey could have a book called, How to Get Financial Peace. But when you take even off the how-to, it just amplifies the benefit of financial peace. Or
so the shortest version is just abundant energy.
That's exactly right. So if you see that and there's the right image, and we're showing that to the right demographic, and people can click and download the book, that's really that's going to get the right people in the conversation, right? But that's not, abundant energy is sort of a generalized thing, and you could also specialize it with different, with approach for chronic fatigue, or for the thyroid, or for whatever symptomatic type of things that people might have.
Okay, yeah, got you.
So when you kind of look at that, what we need in order to make this sort of syndicatable is you have to be able to solve the problem on the smallest level, right? The original unit kind of thing, the one practitioner in one location. And so what that allows you to do often is work on creating and testing a prototype, to be experimenting in in one location to figure out what is the right title of a book, what is the right Facebook ad. We've got to now take the profit activators and line them up. So we say profit activator 1, who's our target audience? Well, let's say that it is 35 to 55-year-old women in Winter Haven who are parents, let's say. It could be a specific target audience, right? Then how profit activator 2, how do we get them to raise their hand? We show them an opportunity for a book called Abundant Energy.
How do you get the book out there? I mean, how does a practitioner get everyone in Winter Haven to know
right.
that you've got this book?
That you could do that through Facebook. They could do that through pay-per-click ads. If people are searching on specific keywords, you could do kind of regionally based pay-per-click. That's the two main things: is people who are searching, or people who are in that area. Like we could target a specific group of people in demographically on Facebook. Say I want to show this to 35 to 55-year-old women, or 40 to 60-year-old women, or whatever the target audience might be, and test to dial in and see who are the audiences who are more attracted to this. Do we get more response to from people who are over 50 than we do people who are under 30? Unlikely, right? If you kind of look at who your audience would be.
Yep, got you.
Showing them that book where they can click on the ad, it's just offering that's what we were doing with the adult acne cure, is the people click, then they can download a copy of the book. And they're very simple landing pages. Like if you go to 90minutebook.com, that's what the landing page looks like, right? Just that. It's just a picture of the book, just the headline, and leave their name and their email address. And those get, very high conversion rates, because it's offering something that is resonant with people. We're not trying to convince them. All we're doing in Profit Activator 2 is we're trying to compel to identify and build a list of people who are interested in energy, or in curing their adult acne, or in selling their house for top dollar fast, or writing a 90-minute book. I mean, so the way that I use that for the 90-minute book is we run Facebook ads to groups of coaches, information marketers, entrepreneurs, business owners, offering this free book, and with the idea of, can you really write a book in 90 minutes? And showing people that they can download a copy of the 90-minute book at 90minutebook.com. And then when people download the book, we're able to now engage in a dialogue with people who are self-identified as somebody who's interested in whatever the title of the book is.
So, this sort of interest. Well, I've got two questions. One for our practitioners when we're basically getting practitioners to opt in. So, in your view, would be this like the simplest opt-in page for us, for our overall system, would be a similar thing? It would just be to a book, which, I mean, we have this, I think I like a 100-page book called Magnify Your Practice with Energy Medicine. But the page has got a load of other, I don't know, other
right,
bits
everything,
and bobs about the company,
and we
should just strip it out.
Absolutely. Well, you want to test it, and I found that the less other options there are, the higher the opt-in rate.
Right.
So if you look at 90minutebook.com, there's no other information. The only choice is download the book or not.
Got you. I've basically got this one that says, you can opt a little video of us saying, if you opt in, we'll give you an introduction to Bioenergetics course, this book, and access to Living Matrix, and then there's a whole load of other writing. But is that too many things for an opt-in? Are you best off just one thing per opt-in?
Well, what would the only thing I'm interested in is the number of people that opt in. So as soon as you put other information in there, typically people will, there are usually more filters than amplifiers, that it will usually bring response down. So I can do things like run a full page ad in Success Magazine, bring people to the email mastery.com web page and get a 68% opt-in. And so that is, different than if you brought them to a page where there's all kinds of other things for them to get lost in and filter it out, sort of thing. So when you look at it, I would look at what is the opt-in rate on the page that you're sending them to, and look at how can we just break the job of work down into the individual incremental commitments, right? So Profit Activator 2, the only job of Profit Activator 2 is to get an invisible prospect to become visible. And now they're in Profit Activator 3, where we educate and motivate them. Right? So now somebody who I know that ultimately at the end of the before unit for the adult acne cure is a $900 sale of a device that they've never heard of. But there's a lot of education and convincing that needs to happen to go from first exposure to something to making a $900 sale.
Yep.
And so it's the same, especially here, where there's lots of opportunity there, but there's lots of education that needs to be done. So you start out with the benefit. The awareness. People are not aware of infoceuticals and aware of the ability of water to be imprinted with information and how that can affect your overall energy. That's not a generally known principle, right? Nobody's buying into that.
That's why I make movies. It's a good way of explaining it all.
But if you can get in front of people who self-identify as people who need and want more energy.
Yeah, got it.
That's a valuable thing.
And what do you think of the? If you go down that, I don't know how you call it, the whole syndication route.
Mm-hmm.
A danger in my little head. So we've got lots of practitioners out there today that are seeing people with all sorts of different conditions, and just the way the sort of alternative medicine world works is generally they get all the people where Western medicine fails, and then they go more alternative and we end up with all these really hard cases of all sorts of conditions, which legally I probably can't even mention.
Right.
But I was just trying to think if I then tried to go to all our practitioners and say, just go with this whole the whole abundant energy, like the single target market approach. I don't know if that would go. Well, I don't think it would go down well with them. At least with the existing people. With new people, it can be different because it's obviously set up from the start. But I don't know what you think of that.
Well, I think that part of more specific is better. So if you can say things like chronic fatigue, that there's the when we talk about very specific things is it's very compelling, especially if we have very specific things, especially if it's like chronic fatigue or other named things that people, diagnose themselves with or have been diagnosed with, that this could help. That's kind of why I was asking in the beginning very specific things of what it could do. And I felt like while the first thing it felt like you were saying the broadest thing is energy. So let's focus on that. And I think that the people who have chronic fatigue are a very specific thing. If you could get, what would be the title of the book that you would have loved to have had when you were suffering with chronic fatigue?
Yeah, going from chronic fatigue to abundant energy.
Yes, exactly. That's
I would have read that book. Yeah,
of course. Frank Kern is doing a small book all over the internet right now, how to get high-paying consulting clients even when nobody knows who you are. So it's a very specific thing, right?
Yeah.
And so how to have abundant energy even if you've got chronic fatigue.
Yeah. And even people who don't have chronic fatigue that just have like slight energy issues, they're probably still going to be attracted to that because it's got the whole scale in, isn't it?
Right. I think that's the general thing. So for the lesson here, the takeaway is you've got something that you're looking to build a network of people, and that could be anybody listening who's got any type of business that they're going to help, because your business is sort of business to business in that you're helping these practitioners. You're going into a relationship with them to show them how to get more business. But no matter what, ultimately it has to be about getting in touch with and getting a result for the end user. So when you've all the way, the chain reaction or the chain event there of if you can figure out the puzzle of how to get somebody who's got low energy into the conversation that leads to them getting scanned just to see what they've got, to trying these infoceuticals to getting a result. If you can solve that riddle for people here in Winter Haven, you've solved it for everywhere. And that's where, so a lot of times people start scaling from the top down, and I'm saying you scale from the scale ready algorithm. You've got to figure out what is it that gets that chain of events to happen. Somebody to identify themselves, engage in a conversation, come in for a scan, and be convinced that the infoceuticals are going to help them and get a result. You've got the get a result part down.
Yeah.
You've got the protocol. Now we just need to get the first four. We need to get in conversation with people and get them to the point where we can help them.
Got you. And would you, as Ness has got all these different types of practitioners doing all sorts of different things, and we potentially have this new brand called Supercharged, and we can also create a new type of coach called a bioenergetic health coach. Do you think it'd be better just to create this? I guess in effect, it's a new division, just specifically focused on that. And obviously, I'll keep what's going because if you disrupt things, it can cost.
Yes, no, exactly. And there's the thing. I mean, you want to, part of Profit Activator 1 is selecting a single target market and building a what seems like unique solution for them. I always talk about Procter & Gamble as that, Procter & Gamble right now has 23 individual billion-dollar brands. And none of them are, they're not advertising them together or, they seem completely different. And in a lot of cases, they seem like they compete against each other.
Yeah, I sort of see Ness as this great, I don't know what I would call it, a great big starfish organization in the long run, where we can go after all of these. I mean, we've even got an animal system that I haven't really got. Well, I won't go into it now, but yeah, I mean that's its own thing. But we could have 10 very large businesses all focused on different areas.
But you've got to, the focus has to be on the scale ready algorithm, and that's like the stem cell. That when you get that, you can say to a practitioner, run this ad to this book, follow this email sequence, invite them in this way. Here's what we say to educate them. And of course, the book is going to do a lot of the education and motivation, and then invite people in to get a scan.
Got you. Can I ask about? I think it's your Profit Activator 8. Is that the referral one?
Yeah, orchestrating referrals. Yep.
Orchestrating referrals. I think I remember from when I read it a while ago that I think in your view you don't give any sort of fee or anything like that. I can't work out how to do it for our practitioners, and I guess I was just reading in Joe's book last night. He has a chapter on referrals of like if when our practitioners come to our training, is that probably the best time to get a referral from them right then of a name to bring into the next training? I was just wondering if you had any ideas around that.
Well, so much of the, if you go to gettingreferrals.com, I've written a whole report on the secret psychology of why people refer real estate agents. And that the psychology is the same of why do people refer, anything really. That's the psychology of it is the same there. But when you understand that the real reason people refer anything is because it makes them feel good, they're going to want to introduce their friends to this great new concept because they know about it and they don't. And so part of it is, if you've got something that you can give them a book to give to somebody, it's not about turning them into sales people for you. It's about turning them into, just introducing you.
I assume you give our practitioners a book to give away.
Well, you would give them the opportunity to get a book to give away. When you say, if you hear someone talking about this or about what to do with somebody with chronic fatigue or looking for an additional opportunity to do something in their practice, give me a call or text me and I'll get you a copy of my book, the one you just described, that you have for practitioners to give to them. And now you're in conversation with them and you know who that practitioner is.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, hey, tell your friends to come do this or whatever. We want to just...
Do you think, they've just been through 4 days of our training, and they're all super happy and excited right there in the room. If we gave them a sheet of paper at the end that said, like, I don't know, maybe it's the feedback form, and feedback if you're happy, unhappy, and if you're happy, perhaps you could give us a couple of names of colleagues you think might be interested, so we can just send them a
I think
book
if you
on your
did
behalf.
it the way, I think if you did it the way that you would maybe have giving them the opportunity to give a gift. Always focus on what they're getting, not on that it's for you. Right? So if you had, we're happy to send books to anybody that you would like us to. So if you had a card that had the, picture of the book, and you said, please send this a gift book to this person, that would be, they're going to get that reflected glory then, right? It doesn't sound like or feel like you're just like a multi-level marketing thing, right? Give us the names. You must give us the names.
Yeah.
Give people that opportunity to feel good, which is the best thing.
So you mean give them a book which has got a card?
Well, you've got a book for them, but have the cards where you can say, we're happy to send a book to any other practitioner that you would like. If you've got friends, you're going to be having these conversations. You've learned a lot. There's a lot of stuff to take in 4 days, and of course, all your friends are going to want to know what you talked about. We're happy to send them a copy of the book so that you can make it easier on yourself.
I guess I'm slightly confused. What's on the card? Is it a card they hand?
It's a card that you hand to them that they can fill out. You were asking about getting them to give the names of the practitioners, right? So instead of saying, hey, just give us the names of some of these practitioners so that we can have our trained salespeople follow up and convert them, that's not what you want. You want to say, look, we're happy to give your colleagues a copy of the book as well. There's some of the cards right here. If you just fill out their contact information, we'll send the book with a note from you.
Got you.
See what I mean? Different.
Yeah.
It's a different tone. You get the result, but you don't get the feeling of,
some sales thing.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Got you.
Perfect. All right, Harry Massey. We got we packed in a lot of evil scheming.
Yeah.
There.
No, that was brilliant. That's helped me a lot. Thank you.
So what would you say is your recap? Looking at your notes here, what was the takeaway?
I would say my recap is, I guess that, well, we have this company that's obviously a bit spread out across all sorts of things today, and basically we have this opportunity through Supercharged and the Bioenergetic Health Coach to really sort of follow this very sort of targeted strategy of going down the energy chronic fatigue target market and being known like a bioenergetic health coach, which is a new type of practitioner that's a specialist type of practitioner that's basically specialised on helping people go from chronic fatigue to abundant energy, and we're basically going to systemize that as much as we can. That's my summary.
That's awesome. Good. Well, I'm excited for you. Lots of opportunity here.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, do you have the names of some other practitioners that you could give me? I'm just teasing you. I had fun on the call. I think you got a great opportunity here. I'd love to definitely stay connected here and keep me posted as we're moving forward here.
Yeah. No, well, I should get your now that you know more about this. Is can we? I mean, do you think we can do this energy book in 90 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's the thing is that I think it's the great thing about it is that it forces you to get the most important information out. You approach it, and the way we approach it is we do a call with you to get the outline of what's the most important things that somebody would need to know about this, to go from not knowing anything about it. We're starting with they're interested in abundant energy. We're ending with they're going to be introduced to, educated about this new approach, and motivated to take the next step. So what would you say if we were interviewing you on a podcast and you had 1 hour to kind of build the case for this? That's the way that we approach it, and then we get that transcribed and turn that into the book. The most important thing, especially for testing things like this, is that you have the title right. The title and the cover and the fact that you have a book is 80% of the ingredients for success of this. It's far more important what the title of the book is and the approach that we have than the content of the book even.
I just thought of a new title: How to go from zero energy to abundant energy for life.
There you go. And it's easy to test those kind of things,
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, we should book in for I'll book in with whoever it is for the 90-minute book.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks, Harry.
No, thank you. All right. Take care.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
And there we have it. Boy, that was a long episode, but we covered a lot of ground. And I think that the takeaways from this for you are that no matter what, if you've got something that requires some level of education in order for people to be at a point where they're ready to take action, the very best thing that we could do is in Profit Activator 1, make sure that you've selected exactly the person that you can help. You heard me talk about the adult acne cure as an example of taking a product that could help multiple people and narrowing it down to one specific target audience. Even though you know that we're not taking away or limiting you in any way, we're focusing in and amplifying the one specific thing that you could help. So we ran through some of those ideas with Harry. Now, when you're looking to turn invisible prospects into visible prospects, the thing that makes it easier is when you start with an information piece that promises sort of a benefit that they would love to have. And there's nothing as powerful as a book to do that for you. And so, I mentioned with Harry, I gave him the example of what we've done with the adult acne cure, what I've done personally with our email mastery book, what we've done with hundreds of people through our 90-minute book process. So if you've got something that requires some education and you've got to sort of build a list of people that you can communicate to so that you can, over a short period of time, do the amount of education that convinces them and motivates them to take action, you may be a perfect candidate for a 90-minute book. And so I would love to help you with that. First of all, you can start by downloading a copy of the 90-Minute Book at 90minutebook.com. And you'll see exactly how we go through this process. The 90-Minute Book that you will download is a product of the 90-Minute Book process. So it's exactly what we help you do. And you'll see the landing page, that model of landing page offering a book is the highest converting landing page that I've ever used. Nothing beats the conversion of offering somebody a free book with a title that promises a benefit that they would love to be in possession of. So I hope I can help you out with that. 90minutebook.com. Tune in next week and we will have another great episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.